the solution on monopoly, I don't think it perhaps a very good
your question or your comment?
My comment to look at the West for solutions. I mean, Gary, you brought up that in Taiwan they showed Lady Gaga when BBC was covering bombardments of Libya. My research is also in war propaganda and information, and I would consider that more as war propaganda than actually journalistic coverage. So perhaps it was better actually to look and watch Lady Gaga in Taiwan.
So, Gary, any comment?
Well, as someone who studies war propaganda, probably from a different perspective, I mean, it sounds very Glasgow Media Group type approach that you're taking. I think we just have too much of a difference of opinion, so I don't think I have the time to go into that.
Okay. Who wants to be the last one? Yes, please.
I'm a student from Brazil.
Go to your questions straight away. Thank you.
Can I guess after to ask what will like a journalist in Taiwan do if this deal being approved by the merge happens?
Okay.
What do you think?
Thank you. Anybody?
The journalists in Taiwan, what are their actions now? What will you think that they will do? Like, will they quit?
I don't think some of them already quit. I'm not sure when you were, but some of them, you know, they have to earn a living within that, you know, the media company. So I think they probably just try to reform from within. But we all understand that without the, you know, certain protection of labor's rights, it's really hard to do that against your post. But for me as a professor, I found there's no place that I can, you know, I can publicize my opaque article. You know, there's no channel. So that's a really problem, right? In the past, we used to, you know, submit our article to the China Times. That's the only, you know, looks like seemingly more non-partisan one, and they write the good quality. When I'm still saying my article is good quality, I mean, they like that's a discussion. Not like the Liberty Prize in Taiwan. We all know it's very pen green. Only pen green readers will read that. But China Times is considered the, you know, the neutral ground. I mean, the middle class or educated people will read that. So now we just didn't have any place.
My name is Jane. I have two questions. First is...
Can you just choose one? Thank you.
Okay. And maybe some of you already are aware of the problem of 7-Eleven and Business Weekly recently disputes of the distribution of that magazine. And I would like to echo the issues of independent journalists and how could they find this kind of distributor if they would like to block your papers when you try to be another voice to show the true story. That's my question.
Okay, thank you. Anyone?
No, so I would think about actually in terms of the media monopoly, so the anti-media monopoly is not only just the media outlet itself, but also the distribution network should be part of this consideration. And I think it does highlight the weakness of Taiwan's media regulations. And so I think it should really, you know, the reform of the law, the media ownership law, and also strengthen public television broadcasting. But, you know, finally, that labor union, I think is very important, and that's really actually strengthened. Law is there, but has to be actually further imposed and probably rectified.
Okay. I just want to say a few words in the West. I think we talked about the China impact before, right? We didn't really try to, further analyze that. But I would say that, you know, because we don't have enough information, but we do really need to see this case in a very complicated relation between the media in Taiwan and Taiwanese business people and Taiwanese politicians, and the Chinese business people and the Chinese politicians. So the relationship is really complicated, but sadly we don't have enough information. That might be the reason that we are so anxious, because the less you know about the fact, the more you fear, right? So I think that's why we need a transparency and a diverse environment.
Okay. Anyone? Okay. Quick though.
What do you think about the fact we have a big journalist union, the NUJ, which most journalists I think probably belong to, but how much have they ever done to try and resist the robots and the others, as opposed to working condition pay?
Thank you. So, any of you?
I don't really know enough about the NUJ to go to comment, but I think you raise a very interesting point. I mean, we do know that they tried, you know, with the whole move to well-being and everything else, and it was defeated. It was defeated at a particular time in British history when, of course, we had a very right-wing, you know, the Thatcherite government, which was intent on destroying the unions.
Also, NUJ got the blame on themselves as well, right? Because in the media industry, there is NUJ and the BAC2. BAC2, which is for all the non-journalist union. If you work in TV or radio, but you are not a journalist, then you can apply for the membership for BAC2. And the BAC2 is somewhere around like 100 times bigger than the NUJ.
I don't know, you obviously know much more than I do, so maybe you can...
So I think it's personal view is NUJ got something to blame on themselves as well. Because they limited only for journalists. It's a bit kind of like I'm the intellectual, you are the, you know, I'm from Cambridge, Oxford, you know. But so when you talk about strike or any industrial action, the impact is totally different. The impact is totally different. So I think that personal view, that might be the problem. Last one. If there is not, I will ask the panelists to accept Monique to give 2 minutes each for last speech. And no, except you, because you are going to close it. Okay. Yes, please.
Right, okay. So yeah, I think we just reiterate what I'm saying. I think actually this particular campaign forces us to think about the anti-media monopoly. But media is not really just the newspaper or the television we watch. Actually, I think it's about the whole network and this particular industry. And I think Taiwan's, to safeguard Taiwan's press freedom, really I think we have to look at a more long-term view. So reiterate, you know, the various demands, and certainly in terms of public service broadcasting and also labor union, and to actually reform the media law. I think that's something probably we can strive for right now.
Thank you, Gary.
Well, I remain optimistic. I mean, the issue was raised earlier about, you know, Taiwan's media becoming like the Chinese media and kowtowing to the state. I don't see it happening. I think democracy is too embedded in Taiwan now, and I think that, you know, that there were other times in Taiwan's history when it could have, you know, gone through a backsliding process, and it didn't. And I think the fact that we have the student protests, peaceful student protests, demonstrates that the people of Taiwan are not stupid, that they're not going to let the media become the mouthpiece of the Communist Party in the way that its critics would. And I think I would echo Mingye's point that she made in her original statement, which is about civil society. This demonstrates the growth, the vibrancy of civil society in Taiwan, and of the student-led civil society movements in particular. And it does, as I said, send out a very positive signal to autocratic regimes around the world that democracy can resolve issues peacefully.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I really like the Professor Brunei, her talk about this kind of this protest actually is considered. We can consider it as the second wave of democratization in Taiwan. So I'm really glad that today there's a big turnout. So I just want, you know, the young people and, you know, middle-aged people like us, we can all work harder. Work harder to not only safeguard but also to improve the politics of democracy.
Thank you. So I will take 2 minutes and say thank you for coming. And I'm very sorry if you can't present your question or your comment. But as I said at the beginning, if you wrote it on a piece of paper, please hand it to the organizer. Okay? And when you return home, please do have a safe journey. And remember what to do, whatever you need to do. Thank you, and I will hand the floor back to Monique. Thank you.
of the Center of Taiwan Studies at Soas, I would like to firstly thank our student group here for initiating this idea, especially Chen. He has been writing us a lot of emails, and I think we should. So when I checked the Facebook page that they created 2 days ago, around 140 people said they would come to the event. And I was really freaking out, so I was in touch with my colleague Duffy to ask him what the solution would be. We tried to find a bigger venue, but then there's no bigger venue available. So I'm sorry about this arrangement, but I thank you all for coming to this very important event. And next week, we'll come back to our normal venue in 116. We will screen a documentary, and then we'll have a Q&A session with filmmaker Zheng Xiangta. It's about how some of the former sex workers in Taiwan have tried to start a new life. I have some flyers here. I hope to see you at 6 in room 116 opposite this building. Please do check our center's website. We have some really exciting events coming up this term, especially in the afternoon of 22nd of February. We have invited Dr. Lin Tai to give a talk. So I think perhaps we can also ask her the question about media monopoly. Thank you for coming, and I hope to see you again very soon.
Thank you for coming, and before you all evacuate from this packed room, there are two things to be announced. First is that we didn't have time to have you registered, but we would very much like it if, well, if you feel interested, to leave your name, your institution, and email here so we can keep contact with you. And secondly, we have built up a Facebook page for this event. So if you feel like you want to share some comments, or you still have any questions, just go to the Facebook page and post it there. Thank you very much. So for those who want to leave your contact, please come forward to the front desk. Thank you.